It's on this side, yeah. See?
Take this fainted heart, take these tainted hands, wash me in your love, come like grace again. Even when my strength is lost, I'll praise you. Even when I have no song, I'll praise you. Even when it's hard to find the words louder than I'll sing your praise. I will only sing your praise. Take this mountain weight, take these ocean tears, hold me through the trial, come like hope again. Even when the fight seems lost,
Could you repeat my new revelation? Why will the West and the East converge on Jerusalem or in Judea? Why will they converge and they will eventually meet up in Megiddo? And of course, Brother George shared also another place like, I forgot the other place Brother George shared. But why will they converge there? Of course, that's the proof of Brother George that the war was won first by the West. And that will be the Antichrist facing Jesus Christ in his return. Now, why will they, the Valley of Jezreel, okay, I remembered what he said.
Yeah.
Why will the West and the East converge on the Valley of Jezreel and Megiddo? Why? What was my answer? Why will they try to occupy the promised land? Why? We're talking of the end of the tribulation. Setting the stage for World War III. Yes.
Yes, the reasons why King of the North, which is Europe, and King of the East, which is China, going converge to Jerusalem because of this papacy.
Yes. So, let me share what our teaching was before. Our teaching before, and coming from Brother Branham, and this is the teaching of the Jews, whoever controls Jerusalem controls the world. Well, that seems to be mystical, like supernatural, like paranormal. But on the economic side, coming from Brother Jackson, Brother Branham, is, and my teaching also before, the temple will be rebuilt, and all the building of the third temple will be so glorious, Haggai chapter 2, that desire of the nations will come. It's written also in the Bible that Sheba and that all the desires, their gold, their silver, the gold is mine, the silver is mine. So the whole resources, the whole investments of the world will be on the rebuilding of the temple. America and Russia will collapse economically because of that. The Jews will withdraw all their resources for the glory of the temple. And that will be the cause of Ezekiel 38:39. And I still teach that. I still agree with that. But what about Armageddon? What about at the end of the tribulation? Will that be the reason that the West and the East will converge to invade the promised land? Now, this is something new. The reason they will converge is not just for the economic investment. It's also not because only, I also believe it, of political control, power. I believe in the political control and power. But it's not just that. Only. The political control and power was the result of the papacy moving its headquarters from the Vatican to the Temple Mount. So it's been too long time since the Catholic Church wanted to set its headquarters to Jerusalem. Did you know in Jerusalem, every square inch of real estate is being guarded, zealously guarded by different faiths, Orthodox churches, different Orthodox denominations, different Catholic denominations, even Muslim groups. So different faiths occupy every square inch of Jerusalem, real estate. But the group that has the most desire to control it is the Catholic Church. I'm not discounting the mystical side, the witchcraft side, or whatever. I watched a documentary of Brad Meltzer's Decoded. You can search for it in the YouTube. No, he said
Brad Melchor.
Brad Meltzer's, Meltzer. So you can look for it in YouTube. He has several shows, but one of his shows is the Spear of Destiny. The Spear of Destiny was supposed to be the spear that struck the side of Jesus Christ when he was crucified at Calvary. And it holds, supposedly it holds supernatural powers. And Hitler also spirited away that spear from a museum when he temporarily won the initial stage of World War II. So Hitler has some occult background, and he believes in this occult. He wants these relics for his occult purposes. Okay, the same with Freemasonry, having the Ark of the Covenant, etc., etc. Now, that's what I mean when I say the mystical side, because in the documentary of Brad Meltzer's Decoded, you can search Decoded in YouTube, maybe it will appear.
Decoded.
Yes, Decoded.
Yes.
There was a person there that explained his boss was the caretaker, the one who hold the Spear of Destiny. He stole it from Hitler, and he's planning to use that Spear of Destiny to take over the temple, to take over the world by holding the temple. So that's the mystical side. See, they're Satanists, but they're gonna use the Spear of Destiny when they take over the temple.
Who is this
When
person?
the temple will be rebuilt, when the temple will be rebuilt, they will seize that opportunity to take over the whole world through that Spear of Destiny.
Who is this person that you are talking about? Who
Stole. The person could not be identified. The person cannot be identified because the one who said that is secret, is confidential. So the person who said that, he was just a friend of his friend's boss. His friend's boss was the one who held the Spear of Destiny. They were drunk when he was told that. I just gave you an idea for the mystical side. We don't expand too much on this. So, taking over the temple, there's a mystical side. The Catholic Church has some mystical side. That's what the Babylon Mystery Religion book has been talking about. The mystery religion, there are many, a combination of many mystical arts. So this is magic, witchcraft, etc. So that's not our subject. Our subject is, why will the West and the East converge on Jerusalem? If it's not for mysticism, if it's not for economic investment, to take over the gold is mine, the silver is mine, why will they want to take over that Temple Mount? I said partially correct. It is political. Now, how is political connected to this? Let me explain. After the war of Ezekiel 38-39, there will be a peace treaty. I think you are very aware of that the papacy will enter into agreement with many nations. Many nations, remember, Daniel 9:27. He shall make a covenant with many for 1 week, but in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. Then 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 4 comes in. He will sit in the temple of God, showing himself he is God. What happens here? In Daniel 12, it says, he will cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. From the time, that's in Daniel 9:27, in Daniel 12, from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away. So there will be daily sacrifices in the temple. The temple will be rebuilt. Then there will be daily sacrifices. Without discounting the mysticism that it exists, and others, economical, the political, the sacrifice is being restored every day. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. Daniel 12, from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, unto the, I forgot up to what, that the, shall be 1,290 days. But bless unto the abomination that maketh desolate. From the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken and the abomination set up, shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he that cometh to the 1,335 days. So that's the latter half of the last week of Daniel. That's the latter half of the 70th week of Daniel. This latter half talks about sacrifice being taken away and the abomination set up. The abomination set up is the Antichrist himself sitting in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. 2 Thessalonians says he is the man of sin. Now, how does this answer that the West and the East will converge? It's because of like this.
Okay, before you continue to answer that, please pause a little while.
Shall I pause the recording?
Yes.
So, continuing from our discussion, why will the West, European Union, and the East, China and its coalition, would want to converge in Jerusalem, in Judea? The Bible mentions the valley of Jezreel. The book of Revelation mentions the valley of Megiddo. Why will they converge there? The reason is this. When the papacy broke the covenant in Daniel 9:27 and Daniel 12, and he caused the daily sacrifice to cease. Actually, he destroyed the international peace treaty that was started out after Ezekiel 38:39. When the peace treaty was destroyed, there is no longer any withholding the nations to converge in the Middle East. Because when the two prophets that were prophesying for 3.5 years, the first part of the tribulation period, were killed successfully by a sniper bullet in the middle of the week, in the middle of the first 3.5 years. After the two prophets were killed, the international incident should be over. But it was not over. The papacy used that opportunity to take over the temple. When they took over the temple, then all gloves are off, all bets are off, all restraint is off. That's the ultimate fulfillment of 2 Thessalonians 2:7. When he shall let, he that let shall let until he be taken out of the way. What's your
So
question?
that's when the time that the two prophets were being killed by this Antichrist during
Yes.
the time of that
The Antichrist
middle week.
will successfully, through, of course, not the man of sin himself, but his cohorts, the police, the authorities, the Israel authorities that want to make Jerusalem an international city, that want to make the temple available for all. But it just so happened that two prophets and their 144,000 were barricading it. The siege would be over. Jeremiah said, kill the shepherd and scatter the sheep. The sheep that will be scattered is the 144,000. The two prophets that will be killed will lay in the holy city for 3 days until they be taken up. And this is also the time where all the demons in Tartarus will be let out. And they will possess all nations. The Bible in the book of Revelation says it will possess the leaders of the nations to go to war. Now, what will be their reasoning to converge on the Middle East? Supposedly, it is for humanitarian reason, to be peacekeepers, like how the United States helped the European nations by conquering Germany, or in Korea, helping the nations by keeping the peace. In Kuwait, when Saddam invaded it, a policing state. Now, the policing state now falls into the hands of the European Union and the kings of the East. You know, China today wants to play a role in international geopolitics. So, what the papacy did, transferring its headquarters from Vatican to Jerusalem, it caused a stir, it caused a wider riot, a wider conflict than just the Muslims and the Jews today in Palestine or in Israel. It caused a greater conflict because all countries have their vested interest there, not just political, but it could be economic also. Political and economic. And how about mystical? I'm not going to talk about that, but I believe that also exists. So, the political side is the turmoil it will develop in the whole world. Very much similar to Ezekiel 38:39. That this turmoil is between the papacy and the rest of Israel. I'm not talking about the political Israel, but the 144,000. So there will be trouble, Jacob's trouble. There will be confusion. There will be anarchy. And in trying to pacify that anarchy, the West and the East will converge. Christ said, unless those days shall be shortened, no flesh shall be saved. What days? Is it the days of...
When did this happen? This you said turmoil. This turmoil. When did this happen?
It's the turmoil started when he caused the sacrifice and oblation to cease. When the daily sacrifice shall be taken away. He will take over the temple similar to Antiochus Epiphanes took over the temple. You read in Daniel 12 the abomination set up. Antiochus Epiphanes set up an abomination when he took over the temple. He made an altar to Jupiter.
Okay.
Jupiter represents Rome. He's the god of the Romans. So when he set up an altar to Zeus or Jupiter, he lost the battle of Egypt and Rome. He was the original north in Daniel 10 and 11. But he no longer became the north later. Because there will be another north that will defeat him in battle. So historically, Antiochus Epiphanes was defeated by Egypt and Rome. Rome was starting to rise then. That will be the time when Rome will eventually take over Palestine. Take over the Promised Land. But before Rome could take over the Promised Land, Antiochus Epiphanes still held that land. In Daniel 8, it said that he will vent his anger to the Promised Land. If you remember Daniel 8, there's a he-goat with a horn. Then his horn split into four. You remember, that's the four generals of Alexander the Great?
Yes.
And one of the horn
Alexander the Great.
One of the horn stretched out to the pleasant land. That horn that stretched to the pleasant land, that's Antiochus Epiphanes. He extended his power to the Promised Land. And
Antiochus Epiphanes is from Syria, is that right?
he's Syrian. He's the descendant of Seleucus. So,
that is the north
Antiochus
of Israel.
Antiochus Epiphanes, that's the north of Israel. But there's another north, which will be where the Romans will come in. So, before the Romans could take over, he will vent his anger in the Promised Land. He will kill many. He will vent his anger to the chosen people. Of course, that's history. So, that history is not just history. That is a pattern of what's going to happen again. That's why in Daniel 12, that's the end time. In the end time, the daily sacrifice shall be taken away and the abomination set up. And the power of the holy people will also be suppressed, destroyed, and tormented because it will happen again in Jerusalem. So who will represent the north? Who will represent the south? In Daniel 11, it will be the west and the east. The papacy will be pressed in the middle. Why? Because the devil will take over him and he will take over the temple. Okay. What your question?
So what is really the main reason of this converge in between north and east down to south, which is Judah from the papacy? So what is the main reason? Is that
Let me correct your terminology.
Is that for this net?
Let me correct your terminology. We use north and south for the time of Antiochus Epiphanes. But we use west and east for the time of the papacy and tribulation period. Okay? So you don't confuse the two. Okay? Even though the Europe is slightly northwest of Israel, but still we just call it west and east just so that it will not confuse the two. The book of Revelation does not mention kings of the north or kings of the west. It mentions the kings of the east. The river of Euphrates will be dried up to make way for the kings of the east for the great battle. The great battle of Megiddo. So, the reason they will converge, let me repeat, I just already said this a while ago, like the policing state, like the world peacekeepers, they want to suppress anarchy. Like sometimes there is anarchy in Somalia, anarchy in whatever country, in Bosnia, and the UN sent troops to put down the unrest. The same thing, Titus, why was he sent, Vespasian and Titus, why were they sent to Jerusalem or to Judea? To put down rebellion, to put down unrest. Okay? It's the same reason why I think the Romans got into Jerusalem and Judea, because someone in the Hasmonean dynasty requested their help. That's how Rome was able to take over the land. But we are talking of the time of Antiochus Epiphanes. He will press in the middle. He will be pressed in the middle. That's in Daniel 11. So, when Rome, when the Roman Catholic Pope will move its headquarters from the Vatican to Jerusalem, to the Temple Mount, he will cause turmoil, untold unrest, untold suffering because of conflict. He will rekindle a conflict. This conflict will not be between Muslims and Jews anymore. This conflict will be to
North
him.
and the East.
Let me give you some background of the papacy.
Because of this, so this turmoil, are you saying that this turmoil
Will be caused by the Pope.
is because of this? It's because of this converge in between North and East.
No. The West and East. The West and East will converge there just to put down the unrest. The unrest that the papacy will cause
But they
will be
but
the
they-
destruction.
but
Will
they-
the destruction of the
this North
treaty.
and East. But this North and East, they are not unified. Is that right? They are not unified. They are enemy to each other.
To be more accurate, use the word northwest. The northwest and east. Why will I say northwest? Because it's also west.
So when I say East, it is a exclusive of a China in ancient name. It's Shittim. Shittim, is that right? Shittim.
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure.
It's
I forgot about
China.
it. Let me continue.
So
When you say east, it's the China coalition. Only China affords 200 million soldiers, foot soldiers.
when you say coalition, they have also
Allies.
an allied.
Yes, India could be an ally. Japan, even
Philippines
Philippines
also
can be an
maybe
ally. Yes, Philippines can be an ally. Thailand, Vietnam. It like the European Union. The European Union is a coalition of many nations. So it's not. There's nothing wrong if Asia will have its own coalition. Okay. So the kings of the East will not be the Middle East, Arabs countries. It will be from far away. Will be from China, India, and they will. The river Euphrates will be dried up for them to cross. So they have their own agenda. That's why when they originally want to converge to Jerusalem, they want to take control. Whoever gets there first, whoever controls it, has the say in world affairs. Let me give you an example. Korea. They fought over Korea. Who will get the control? They fought over Vietnam, Russia, USSR, and United States. They fought over Vietnam. They fought over Korea. Whoever gets the control. In Berlin, they fought over the capital city of Berlin. They're not fighting literally, but politically. There are many intrigues. Let's give some background for the papacy, so that you will understand the papacy can cause such turmoil. If you remember, there was a time that the papacy ruled over the kings of Europe, and there was a time the kings of Europe went against the papacy, and there was a time
when that's the time that this papacy was ruled.
the Dark Ages.
That's in
During the Dark Ages.
Dark Ages.
Yes.
Dark
So
Ages.
Brother Jackson told that story about how the papacy uprooted 3 kings. I forgot the
Yes,
detail of the story because they were backsliders. The Pope excommunicated them. The Pope has no army, but because the followers of the kingdom are the subjects of the kingdom are Catholics, they did not want to follow the king anymore. So the king has to humbly go to the Pope and humble down and ask for forgiveness, so that his subjects will follow him again.
It's the 3 kings.
So there,
Is that 3 kings? 3 kings?
Yes, that in the discussion of Lord Jackson and also in maybe Seventh Adventist. So, in the book of Daniel, you can read that he uprooted 3 horns. Okay? When he uprooted 3 horns, that represented it. Now, there came a time that the kings of Europe were against the Pope already. So, starting from the time of Martin Luther, was Martin Luther protected by God? God used the kings of Europe to protect him. That's why was the religious wars, the Protestant wars. It's not just a reformation of separation, or else Martin Luther would be killed. But it is the kings rebelling against the Catholic authority, the Holy Roman Empire. That's how Protestantism was preserved. Aside from Protestantism, there was the Renaissance. They want freedom from asceticism of the Catholic Church. Of course, it's a worldly revival. And there's also Reformation alongside Renaissance. And we also have Napoleon Bonaparte imprisoning the Pope. Did you know the Pope also had many intrigues during the Dark Ages? Because there were popes that abused their power. There were popes that were rapists. Yes. There were popes that were fornicators. They had many illegitimate children. And it was so corrupt that they even sold their offices of the cardinals to their bastard children. So
there is a pope, I think many popes will put in prisons. So
no, not many,
something
but
like that.
So just to summarize, because of the corruption, the kings of Europe wanted to be free from the papacy. That's why the 10 horns will have their own crowns eventually in Revelation 17. But in Daniel chapter 2, the 4th beast with 10 horns has no crowns yet. But in Revelation 17, the 10 horns will have their 10 crowns. That means to say they become independent. They're no longer united, one Europe. But there's a prophecy in Revelation 17, they will give their power 1 hour with the beast. And you can read in Revelation 17 that the beast will kill the woman that's sitting on the beast. The woman sitting on the beast will be killed by the beast. You know that. You're aware of that, right? So that means to say, one day, the kings of the European Union will be fed up with Catholicism and the papacy, because she's full of intrigues. She's full of scandals. She's full of, sometimes she deceives the whole nation, but the whole world. Yes, she will deceive the whole world to against the 2 prophets. But when she took over the Temple Mount, she violated the treaty of the nations. Then the nations removes their gloves, removes all restraint. They want their own agenda. They want to be first to control Jerusalem. But since the devil, if you read Revelation 16, the demons have been released from the bottomless pit, Revelation chapter 9, and they will possess all these leaders. And when they converge in Megiddo, they will make war against each other. And Christ said, unless those days shall be shortened, no flesh shall be saved. When you see Jerusalem being armies massing against Jerusalem, so he was not just talking about Titus. He was talking about the tribulation period. When that you see that abomination set up, Matthew 24:15. Abomination will be set up in Jerusalem again, in the temple again. This is not the time of Titus. Although Titus will also fulfill the period when Jerusalem will be compassed with armies or surrounded by armies. But he is talking about another time. A time of tribulation such as was not since there was nation even to that same time. Matthew 24:21-22. So, when the nations will converge in Jerusalem, it's not just Titus prophecy, but tribulation prophecy, when you shall see the nations, armies compassing, then, what did he say? Flee to the mountains. It will be those Revelation 12 woman that will be the beneficiary of the 144,000 continuation message from the two prophets that will flee to the mountains. And the 144,000 will be caught because they're preachers. But while they're being caught, they could be caught in other nations. They could be caught in Judea itself. The nations, even though they go to Jerusalem, to Judea, to impose peace, to put down unrest, they're still apprehending the 144,000 and the foolish that became wise. Why? Because the message of the two prophets is looked upon as conspiracy. That's where you get the mark of the beast. Because the two prophets will have a message of gloom, of apocalyptic gloom and judgment, that they think these are just terrorists causing trouble. That's why when the papacy took over the temple, he wanted to put down trouble, unrest, but he had his own agenda. But the trouble is spreading. I'll tell you why the trouble is spreading. The world has not reigned for 3 years since the two prophets started prophesying. And the natural resources are being destroyed. A third of the trees burned up, a third of the ships being destroyed. There are calamities taking over the world. And the fisheries, they've turned to red tide. The sea will be turned, a third of the sea will be turned to blood. So there will be unrest. That's all the reason why they want to go to Jerusalem, to Judea, to put down unrest. And the Pope was there, but the Pope was not able to put down unrest because he was possessed by the devil, and he was, or representative of the devil, and he was showing himself he is God. He was there by force, by dictatorship, like Antiochus Epiphanes, and he's causing unrest. So it is the Pope papacy that's the reason they want to converge there. But as Pastor Villeganza taught, it will not be they who will destroy the Pope, but Jesus Christ when he returns. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 8. Who he will destroy with flaming fire, by the word of his power.
By his power.
So before Jesus Christ could come back, starting from the middle half of the last week of Daniel, the world will be possessed to go to war. So for 3.5 years, they've been preparing for war, and they've been and they started to build up their armies to converge in that area. When they finally converge into that area, that will be the 30 days extra of 1,290 days in Daniel 12. The 30 days extra, that will be World War III. Now, will these two camps, the kings of the east and the kings of the northwest, will they be able to finish each other? No. Because Christ said, unless those days shall be shortened, no flesh shall be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So what was the shortening? Because their war is nuclear war. The world will be filled with radiation. But the tribulation, the dreadful day of the Lord, is by earthquake.
But
so Christ will destroy in his return the armies of the earth, the kings of the earth, by earthquakes and hailstones, and volcanic rocks, instead of radiation, nuclear radiation. So the world will be livable in the millennium. So those days are shortened because they will not be able to fully nuke each other. They will not be able to nuke each other.
clarification.
Okay.
So when the time that this two coalition, north and
Northwest
north,
and
north
east.
and west.
Uh,
So when the time that they were converged in that place, is there some nuclear
exchange.
throwing to its? Oh yes, throwing to exchange each other, but few nuclear because
I believe there
scripture
will
said
be.
that there.
There will be nuclear exchange. Why did I say that? Because of Isaiah 24:6. The earth is burned up and few men left.
Okay.
So eventually, the description of nuclear.
That's also there's also the term that using scriptures a while ago. Unless they be shortened, there is no flesh shall be saved.
Yes, in Zechariah also there's a
That's
mention.
the point of time of shortened.
In
Yeah.
Zechariah 14, their eyes will melt out of its sockets. That will be a nuclear explosion. It's not just an ordinary TNT explosion. It will explosive. No, it will be in nuclear radiation. So there will still be nuclear radiation. It will be by the power of God that the world will be cleansed, like new heaven, new earth. But still, that's why Christ said, unless those days shall be shortened. That means say they already started nuking each other. They already started it. But Christ will come, and when He comes, they will stop nuking each other. They will unite against an alien force. They believe in aliens more than they believe Jesus Christ. Did you know that Ronald Reagan, you look for this in YouTube, Ronald Reagan talks about aliens in the UN. Ronald Reagan said in the UN when he was president, all our differences on earth will disappear when there is an alien force attacking us. You can search for that in YouTube. Ronald Reagan in the UN Assembly, when he was giving a speech, he said that all our petty differences on earth will disappear. The whole world will unite, like United Nations. Unite in cooperation.
So that is a foreview or prophecy.
Yes, yes.
Not only prophecy, but proving that.
It's not prophecy.
Mentioning in Revelation.
Maybe the president knows that are alien bodies.
Uh-huh.
So the president gave a speech that the whole world will unite if there is an alien attacking force. We will forget our differences and unite each other. And there was also a discussion with Gorbachev. He said, if we are attacked, will you help us? Yes. The same also. If we are attacked by aliens, will you help us? The United States and Russia will unite together if they are being attacked. So
these people are, even though they are very, what do you call that? They have an intelligent mind or thinking, but in their mind, they have an idea that someday this alien, talking about alien, will be invade this planet Earth.
Maybe.
They have their in their mind that someday it's gonna be happen.
Yes. So that's why the unbelieving world are expecting that. They believe more on aliens than Jesus Christ and the angels. So when Jesus Christ comes back, these opposing forces will stop nuking each other. These opposing forces that's why the Revelation 19 said the kings of the earth. It's no longer kings of the east. It's kings of the earth. Why? It's all the nations of the earth versus Jesus Christ. So all the nations of the earth versus Jesus Christ, Christ will effectively stop their nuking each other. So those days will be shortened because Christ will just destroy them with a 24-hour earthquake and volcanic eruptions and hailstones, and many others. So the blood will be in the height of the horses' bridles in Megiddo. That many blood. Like when you press down a grape and the juice come out. Like humans are being pressed down. So,
Are you agree with Brother George that he's saying that this Armageddon or this place of converge are the place what they are called Jezreel according to Brother
Valley of
George.
Jezreel.
Valley of Jezreel. Is that right?
We have videos on that. You can watch that. Okay. Valley of Jezreel, Megiddo are some of the places that will be converged. Okay, but the blood will be in Megiddo. Okay, so this will be a massive army converging, and they will be facing Jesus Christ. They will train their ordnance, their bullets, their ammunition, their cannons, their bombs, their missiles to Jesus Christ as an invading alien force. If you look at the heavens, it will just be light, and it's like flying saucers actually. They're light coming down. So, and since the earth is gradually being tormented by this tribulation, they believe it is the cause of the aliens. Before they blame the two prophets, then they blame the 144,000. Now they blame Jesus Christ and these angels, but they do not think it's Jesus Christ or the angels. They do not think it's the wrath of Christ. They believe it's an alien force that's causing the world, the earth, to go into turmoil, to catastrophe, into natural disasters. So that's why they think that they will fight against Christ and the Lamb, the Lamb and the bride in Revelation 19. So going back to our subject, the reason they converged is because of the papacy, to put down unrest. But since they're possessed by the devil, they will eventually nuke each other. Did you remember that Russia wants to invade Japan? If the United States did not drop the bomb on Hiroshima and make the Japanese surrender earlier, Russia might invade Japan, and Japan might become communist. You get the picture? So, the United States was in a hurry to conquer Japan because if the Russians were able to conquer some territory, they have to partition the territory also into communist Japan. It's the same thing. Whoever gets there first, you get the picture? That's why they want to converge there, because they want to put down the unrest caused by the papacy. The papacy had a history in the Dark Ages. Remember, the 7 church ages is parallel to the 7 years tribulation period. You remember that? In the midst of the church ages, the papacy declared himself like he's God, and they started this Inquisition. You see the parallel? He started the Inquisition, he started these crusades, then later the Counter-Reformation. So it's similar. In the midst of the week, the papacy will start this bloodbath. This, what was described in Daniel 12. How Daniel, similar to what Antiochus did in Daniel 8, he will persecute the believers, the saints. He will persecute the 144,000. So, how the papacy persecuted the Morning Star of the Reformation. How the Crusades, Crusades. When the papacy, did you know the Crusades, the papacy also wants to take over the Jerusalem also? So, the Crusades is a type. They were successful at first. They were able to take over Jerusalem. I'm talking of the armies, the kings who followed the Pope instruction to take over the promised land. That why did they want to take over? Because the Muslims were encroaching, yes. But they want to take over the promised land for themselves. And during the Crusades, they killed a lot of Orthodox Jews and Orthodox Christians. You see that? They killed a lot of people along the way. So, that's a picture of what will happen in the middle of the week. The middle of these 2,000 years is a parallel mirror of what will happen at the middle of the tribulation, when the papacy will do the same thing again in a shorter time. You remember I said all the catastrophes that took place in the church ages will be compressed together in that 7-year period.
Yeah.
That's why the whole world will be the whole world will be as catastrophic as you could see. The time that it will never happen. Jacob's trouble. Imagine all the catastrophes for 2,000 years. And did you know that the teaching of the Seventh Adventists or the Jehovah's Witnesses, that they believe the 70 weeks are over, they apply the catastrophes in the book of Revelation in the church ages. That's why in the debate they call themselves historicists. But they're part of the truth. Brother Branham also used that part of the trumpets are in the church ages. But the truth is, the church ages is parallel to the 7-year tribulation period. And all events that took place here in the 7 church ages, 2,000 years, you can see it as a mirror image that will take place there also. So, during the Crusades, it was the armies of Europe that converged, and they were driven away by the Muslims later. So you can imagine, in this last century and this final end time, when the kings of the West and the East converge together, and Christ will not intervene, they will nuke each other until no flesh will be saved. But Christ will interrupt it. So that's the reason. Now, why will they converge? Because of the papacy again. Now, why did the Europe go to the Middle East during the Crusades? Because of the papacy also. You see, same reason, right? The papacy was the reason, because the papacy egged them to go and take over the land. Because the Muslims want to take it back. That's why there was the war of the Crusades. Several Crusades, okay? So here you can imagine, during the latter half of the tribulation period, they want to take over the promised land. But when the main armies come along and they are about to kill each other, slaughter each other, Jesus Christ comes back. It will be Jesus Christ that will slaughter them. It will be Jesus Christ that will be slaughtering
Jesus Christ will be killed.
No, not Jesus Christ will be killed. You're wrong terminology.
No, Jesus Christ will be. He will be killed.
That's a wrong term.
No, I mean
when you say Jesus Christ will be killed,
destroyed.
Jesus Christ
will be destroyed.
You remove the word be, okay? Jesus Christ will kill. Jesus Christ will destroy. You don't put be.
Yeah, will destroy.
Jesus Christ. You say Jesus Christ will be destroyed, will be killed. You understand that? Okay? He will be defeated. No, he will not. Okay? It will be Jesus Christ who will kill, who will destroy, and it will be the kings of the earth that will be killed, that will be destroyed. Okay. Funny. Okay. So
that's it.
Could you give me...
So that is the reason why this...
why they will converge.
North and West. By the way...
Northwest will converge with the kings of the east.
Why you are using, as for this last... why are you using West instead of East?
Why am I using West instead of North? Instead of North. Not instead of East, instead of North. You're the one using North. Isn't it you said kings of the East and the kings of the North?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. The reason I use West instead of kings of the North, so that you will not confuse the kings of the north in Daniel 11 of Antiochus Epiphanes. Although they are parallel, so you can identify the one in the end time and the one one of Antiochus Epiphanes. There's no word kings of the north in Revelation. Do you find kings of the north? There's not even kings of the west.
No.
So it's up to you to give a word for the opponent of the kings of the east. The book of Revelation says to make way for the kings of the east for the great battle of Armageddon. So who will they battle? Who will the king of the east battle? Will it be Jesus Christ? No. It will be someone in the west. So the word west is but natural, even though you don't read also the word west. The kings of the west, of course, will be the European Union. The Europe is north and also west of Jerusalem. If you look at the map, look at Jerusalem, you go straight up, it will be Turkey. It will be Turkey, King Asia Minor. Then after Turkey, you have Russia. So Ezekiel 38, 39, the northern parts, that's Russia. Then Europe is somewhere westward. You remember exploring Eden eastward and westward? The gospel traveled westward. How did it travel west? Through Europe. It went through Europe. The gospel traveled through Europe. It's not from Africa to America. It's from Europe to America. So the West, the kings of the West, is a fitting term for the opponent of the kings of the East. Do not use the kings. The reason I do not use the kings of the North, so that people will not be confused. The kings of the North are in the time of Antiochus Epiphanes. It's in Daniel 11. Okay, so I hope you can distinguish between the two. Okay, so please give us a closing prayer.
Okay, so let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for this subject that we have shared this evening, Lord. Thank you for that another revelation that was given by our